Quad Bennett Heat, how's it going? Jerry Seinfeld blames left on comedy. I saw like clips of that. I'm not sure. Um, I'm not sure. There he is. Howdy. Sorry about that, folks. Biden dinner skipped protest outside. Yeah, I'm not surprised. What does that even mean, though? Blames the left on comedy. Oh, I think he there was a segment on this. Hold on. I'm pretty sure I saw something. Let me see if I can find it. Mm, I am pretty sure they've talked, like other commentators have talked about this. You look like you weigh about 95 pounds, soaking wet, little noodle armed liberal. Cool, dude. Wow, man. Did you type those words out yourself? I'm surprised you got that many out. You stepped into the wrong chat, bro. Go work out a little or something. Yeah, I will right after stream, okay? Would that make you feel better? If I work out after stream, uh would that make you feel better? Yeah, I would. You see? Just doing what I can to please everybody. Look at that. Oh, I see. Okay, so yeah, just coming to and fire. I'm so impressed at the level of dialogue. Yeah, we only the best, huh? Okay. So if you want to know more about the Jerry Seinfeld thing, I think we'll just start with that, right? Sorry, it took me a second, but I found it. I found it.
Thank you.
Folks, before we get started, make sure you follow follow this stream on Twitch. Make sure if you're on the YouTube, like the stream, subscribe. It really does help us out, and I appreciate your support. Join the Discord. We have awesome people on the Discord, and we have monthly movie nights and occasional surprise movie night events. So feel free. You can also join the Discord to keep up with the channel. There's plenty of reasons why you should join the Discord. And if you want to check out our merch store and want to support the channel, you can hit !merch. All right, let's get started, folks. Apparently, the left has killed comedy. Okay.
Nothing really affects comedy. People always need it. They need it so badly, and they don't get it. It used to be you would go home at the end of the day. Most people would go, oh, Cheers is on. Oh, MASH is on.
What does he even mean?
Oh, Mary Tyler Moore is on. All in the Family's on. You just expected there'll be some funny stuff we can watch on TV tonight. Well, guess what? Where is it? This is the result of the extreme left and
True, dude. True. The, the extreme woke, radical left, socialist, Marxist have killed comedy. It's a shame.
PC crap and people worrying so much about offending other people.
Right. There's a lot of funny shit out there. Just because you don't like it, it's not all gone. Right. Realistically, like probably what this is gonna boil down to is that like um what it's gonna boil down to is like I'm big mad that people aren't laughing at my garbage jokes anymore. Right. Like I'm pretty sure that's what we're gonna end up finding. Yeah, maybe your sense of humor is kind of offensive. Right.
You just heard a snippet from comedian Jerry Seinfeld's appearance on the New Yorker's podcast, and he is now, I believe, the 897th comedian to complain about cancel culture, or as he puts it, PC crap, which is interesting for the fact that he was saying the opposite just a year ago.
Hey, Jerry, do you think cancel culture is hurting comedy?
I don't.
Well, it seems like he had a change of heart. And before he said that, he said something different, which we'll get to. But I take it that he told another joke that probably nobody laughed at, and rather than being introspective and trying to write better jokes, he chose to just cite cancel culture as the reason why nobody's...
Yep. Man, 1 minute and 13 seconds into this video, and man, did I call it, huh? He's just mad that he made a joke and nobody laughed. These old guys have brainworms, man. I think the lead is getting to them. True. There's plenty of funny shit that isn't offensive or done at the expense of another living being. True. I'm canceling Jerry.
Laughing at his shitty jokes, because that's what a lot of washed up comedians are doing these days, including Jerry Seinfeld. And again, we'll get to that example here, but before we dissect his comments further, there is more from that interview that I want to play.
When you write a script and it goes into 4 or 5 different hands, committees, groups, here's our thought about this joke, well, that's the end of your comedy. They move the gates, like in skiing. Yeah. Culture, the gates are moving. Your job is to be agile and clever enough that wherever they put the gates, I'm going to make the gate.
He's just wrong. I'm sorry, but his comments suppose that edgy TV shows couldn't exist today because everybody's just become too woke or easily offended, but they do. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is probably one of the most offensive shows ever to be aired on television, and it's still running. The same is true for shows like South Park.
True. Jared, just be a decent human being.
And Veep, they have some very edgy jokes. Comedy shows exist despite offensive jokes that very much offend people. But if what he's saying sounds like cope to you, you'd probably be correct, because it's not like people aren't laughing at his jokes because they're too offensive. They're not laughing at his jokes these days because they're just not funny. But he assumes that the lack of laughs is due to people taking offense. And I say this about him because he gave an example of a joke that he told that didn't land in a 2015 episode of Late Night with Seth Meyers, and he claims that it was because the joke was too offensive. Let's watch.
I do this joke about the way people need to justify their cell phone. I need to have it with me because people are so...
I canceled him because of that episode where he tries to buy that suit coat. Sorry, I didn't watch Seinfeld. I'll be honest.
Right. You know, I said, well, they don't seem very important the way you scroll through them like a gay French king.
So he claims that that's one of the edgy jokes that he told that sparked outrage, according to him. Now, I personally don't find that joke offensive at all, but most importantly, I don't find it funny. You're a boomer trying to find a clever way to criticize young people for being obsessed with their phones, but that's just not a funny concept to me. It's been done a million times, and you're not saying anything edgy or insightful, but he goes on to explain the response that he got to that joke. Now, pay close attention to the way that he describes the outrage that joke...
Yeah, he's just big mad. Okay, fundamentally what this is going to come down to is he's just big mad that people aren't laughing at his shitty jokes. That's it. And therefore, that is the reason why the woke left killed comedy. Got it. Thank you, Seinfeld.
Supposedly sparked, because it's not necessarily what it seems, at least based on his interpretation.
I did this line recently in front of an audience, and comedy's where you can kind of feel like an opinion. And they thought, What do you mean gay? What are you talking about gay?
The B movie, problematic movies too. Yep.
What are you saying, gay? What are you doing? What do you mean, you know? And I thought, are you kidding me? I mean, we can't even... I could imagine a time, and this is a serious thing, I can imagine a time when people say, well, that's offensive to suggest that a gay person moves their hands in a flourishing motion, and you now need to apologize. I mean, there's a creepy PC thing out there that really bothers me.
That
Wait, what? Creepy PC thing where you try not to be you try not to be homophobic? I don't understand. It wasn't a controversial episode, just a suit jacket was ugly. Old washed up comedian screaming into clouds. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hold on. Where can I get a decent... Okay, this one's good enough. Yeah, it's just a picture of Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah, political correctness, wokeness, it's all the same thing.
explains so much, because notice how nobody actually told him that they were offended by the joke. Instead, he assumed that they were offended because he said he was able to feel their...
Yeah, and also he knows that the underlying punchline is homophobia. Come on, man.
opinion, and assumed that they thought the joke was homophobic. He then goes on to say that he can
That's a self-report, dude. That's a self-report.
imagine people saying it's offensive to suggest that gay men use effeminate hand gestures. But Jerry, nobody told you that they were offended, and odds are they weren't offended. The joke is just not funny. That's why they didn't laugh. And don't take the fake laughter from Seth Meyers or from the audience who's literally told to applause and laughed as validation that the joke is funny, because it's just not funny. But because he claimed that the joke didn't land because it was offensive, people just took that as fact. For example, if you look at the top 2 comments on that video, they say, to learn who rules over you, simply find...
Oh, no. A lot of Nazis use this quote. Cognizant or conscious Canuck. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. 26 months. Jesus, thank you. I just listened to 2 straight hours of inane chatter from self-important leftists. What's another 2 more, right? Yeah, what's another 2 more, huh? Oh no, this is a common Nazi quote.
Out who you are not allowed to criticize, Voltaire. Well, I guess that the caricature of a PC snowflake that Jerry made up in his mind rules over him, apparently, based on this. Another one says Seinfeld is one of the...
Now, they mean gay people, and normally, if it's a Nazi using this quote, they're normally talking about Jewish people. Yeah, see, we got jokes too. Exactly. Seinfeld is one of the cleanest comics out there, and the fact that he's hitting speech barriers is troubling. Very troubling. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely have to follow up on Mr. Seinfeld's criminal case for making bad jokes. We're gonna definitely follow up on that.
Cleanest comics out there, and the fact that he's hitting speech barriers is troubling. Very troubling. Yeah, it's almost like he made it up, and that's not actually true. But I mean, this is just the thing that older, washed-up comedians say now. I'm sure that he's told funny jokes in the past, but he's past his prime, obviously, right? And rather than accepting that people just don't find jokes about airplane food funny, he lies to himself and tries to convince himself that the joke was just too edgy. That's why people weren't laughing. Sure, that's definitely the problem. It's not that your jokes aren't funny, it's that they're all offended and they just don't get your intellect and your humor. But I mean...
True.
He's not alone, again, because this is what a lot of comedians have been saying lately. They'll tell the 467th joke about pronouns and say they identify as blank, and then when nobody laughs because we've heard that joke a million times, they'll pretend as if nobody laughed because they were offended, when in actuality, it's just not funny. Don't blame cancel culture. Write better jokes, you fucking hacks. And I mean, if cancel culture was as big of a threat as comedians like Jerry Seinfeld say it is, then don't you think he would have been canceled after it came to light that he reportedly dated a 17-year-old when he was 38? Because I mean...
Whew. Yikes. And this was not that long ago. This was literally just a year and a few months ago. Whew.
If that doesn't get you canceled, then I don't know what will, because that's pretty fucking creepy. But he hasn't been canceled. In fact, he just landed an interview with The New Yorker, as you saw. Furthermore, explicitly bigoted comedians like Dave Chappelle have not been canceled. He's still getting more specials on Netflix. So you're still allowed to say offensive jokes. So I don't understand, I guess, what the argument is, right?
There is no argument other than please give me more attention, right? There's actually no logical argument being put forth here. Just please laugh at my jokes. Hold on.
I think the next president needs to be a lot quieter, but send a signal that we're prepared to act in the national security interests of this country to get back in the business of creating a more peaceful world. Please clap.
That's literally what's happening. That's literally what's happening, but for these comedians, right? Please laugh. There's no reason for a 30-year-old adult to be dating a 17-year-old minor, 100%. And like the fact that he wasn't even canceled over that is like, it just goes to show just how nonsensical like this I'm being canceled argument is, right?
Right. If you say offensive jokes, you don't want criticism. But again, like, it's Jerry Seinfeld, so he's not necessarily saying things that are offensive, at least based on what he said offended people. So I guess that he's just like mad that people aren't laughing at his jokes. And I mean, like, if you go to the stand-up comedy section on Netflix, it feels like there's a new special every week called Triggered or Cancel This, Snowflakes. And I find it so insufferable and pathetic that so many comedians won't just own the fact that their jokes are failing. People aren't offended. Your jokes are a failure. But I mean, failure is an inevitable part of the process of comedy, is it not? Some jokes are going to work, some aren't going to work. It's just something that you have to workshop and try with different crowds. And yes, there are times where jokes do offend people, but rather than instinctively denouncing the woke mob, you could try to understand where you went wrong and adjust your comedy so that way more people laugh at your jokes. Because I mean, if you want to be
like, also again, like he would just be assuming that he would just be assuming that like people would take offense to it, which is kind of like a weird self-report, right? Like, that's kind of strange, dude. That you would think that people would take offense to it. Is Hamas good or bad? Is the IDF killing tens of thousands of civilians good or bad?
a comedian, the point is to be funny and make people laugh, right? So why wouldn't you want to improve if a joke that you tell doesn't land? I just don't understand. And Kevin Hart is a perfect example of this. Back in 2018, he was supposed to host the Oscars until jokes about him beating his son with a dollhouse if he were gay resurfaced. And as a result, the organization, I don't remember the name of it, that hosts the Oscars said that he needed to apologize to keep the gig, and he refused. So he lost the gig. And at the time, that got a lot of people talking about cancel culture, including Kevin Hart himself. But you know what he did? He reflected on that situation, and he tried to empathize with the people criticizing him. And in a 2020 interview with Men's Health, he admitted, quote, "With the whole Oscars thing, there was a big gap between what I thought the problem was versus what the problem really was," he says. He got angry, reacting as though the only problem was that people were calling him homophobic, which he feels certain he's not. Quote, "I got 10 years where I made sure to not joke or play in the way that I did back then because it was a problem," he says. "I don't care if you're gay or not gay. I'm a people person. I'm going to love you regardless." But now he sees a layer that he overlooked at the time, that he missed a chance to condemn violence in every shape and form to anyone for being who they are. It wasn't until close friends like Wanda Sykes, Lee Daniels, and Ellen DeGeneres talked to me and explained what they didn't hear me say that I understood. Then I was like, oh shit, I did fuck up. Now, before you accuse him of caving to the woke mob or getting infected with the woke mind virus or some shit like that, it's not like he's suddenly saying that cancel culture is good. In fact, in other interviews, he said that cancel culture can be stupid at times and that he himself has been canceled 3 to 4 times, which kind of demonstrates that comedians just use cancel culture as a synonym for getting criticized.
Right. Like, you can't be canceled like for the 5th time, right? Because if you were to be quote unquote canceled the way that they describe, you wouldn't have a career, right? Yeah, just not the best coming into chat, huh? not the best coming into chat today. Yeah, that's called personal growth and introspection. Right. Yeah, like you can't claim that you're canceled for the umpteenth time. You're still producing content, dude. You're not canceled. You're just either grifting off it or you're big mad that people aren't laughing at your crappy jokes.
But either way, the difference between Kevin Hart and Jerry Seinfeld is that he's not hiding behind cancel culture as an excuse for his bad or offensive jokes. He had important conversations with people impacted by his jokes and understood that the jokes he was being criticized for weren't actually the kind of jokes that he wanted to tell, because he was punching down and in effect hurting people. And he mentioned this again in an interview with Anderson Cooper on 60 Minutes. And here's what he said.
Wanda Sykes said, there's people that are being hurt today because of comments like the ones that you made then. And there's people that will think it's okay to make those comments today based off of what you did then. It was presented to me in a way where I couldn't ignore that.
So he was defensive at first, like a lot of people are when they're criticized, but he put aside his feelings and his ego, and he ultimately chose to learn and grow from that situation, which I find commendable. This doesn't mean that he's not going to tell jokes about gay people, but it means that the kind of jokes that he tells is probably going to be different going forward, because if the goal is to make people laugh, which is the point of comedy, then it's best not to do that by punching down, because you're just going to get less laughs. That's a fact, right? He's not saying gay people are untouchable. He is saying that what he says about gay people and how he jokes about them matters. And that understanding right there that he's demonstrating is why he's relevant and Jerry Seinfeld is not.
True.
Because Kevin Hart is trying to master his craft when he doesn't really have to grow as a comedian because he's at the top of his game. Whereas Jerry Seinfeld peaked a long time ago and is offended because nobody's laughing at his shitty boomer jokes. But again, Jerry Seinfeld is not being canceled for telling homophobic jokes. Rather, he's interpreting people not laughing at his jokes as cancellation for homophobic jokes when nobody actually said that. He imagined that.
Right. So yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, we arrived at the destination, right? He's big mad that nobody's laughing at his jokes and is now claiming that, cancel culture got to him. The radical woke mob, has killed comedy.
They were offended because they weren't laughing at his jokes. Like, it's plausible that he has other examples in his mind of people being mad at his jokes or offended at his jokes. And, maybe it's not that he has an axe to grind. But I mean, for someone as milquetoast as Jerry Seinfeld, it just really feels like he's personally upset that the younger generation doesn't find him fun.
I love the auto captions literally separated the words milk toast. Love it. Good job, Google.
Funny. And I mean, there's an age gap, there's cultural differences. Maybe you're out of touch. Maybe you just have different views compared to young people. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't make you a bad comedian, but I think that it makes you a bad comedian if you're going to say that they're the problem if they're not laughing at your jokes. No, you just don't appeal to them, or you're not funny. Write better jokes. I don't know what to tell you. And to the extent that cancel culture exists, it doesn't really affect the rich and the powerful. It affects the powerless. But I mean, on the subject of people being offended, Jerry, you're the one who's kind of being a triggered snowflake yourself. You're not entitled to get laughs at every single fucking joke that you tell. And if that offends you, then I don't know. I guess maybe you're the one who should find yourself a safe space with the other washed up comedians who can't accept that their shit's just stale. And the problem isn't that people are too PC or too woke or too offended. The problem is that you just need to write better jokes and you don't.
Please laugh. Welcome, Michael Hasser. Exactly. Milk toast.
Don't want to do that.
Yeah, Bill Maher.
So I don't know what to tell you. Do better or shut the fuck up.
Please laugh. All right, so actually just getting into the content. Let's do it.
South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is widely believed to be one of the top contenders to be Trump's running mate. And in an effort to boost her profile, she did what all politicians with presidential ambitions do. She released a book, a memoir about herself. Now, usually these books are meant to humanize these politicians and make them seem more personable and relatable. But Kristi Noem, she chose to take a different approach.
Yeah. So, the nature of this story may be a little bit distressing. So, just a heads up, if you don't know, buckle up. I'm pretty sure by now, like most people know where this is going. But yeah. If you want a good laugh, Bill Burr roasting Philadelphia is always worth a watch.
She decided to show us all how demented she is.
Welcome, mashed potato, and yeah, that's one way of putting it, Michael Hasser, exactly, without having to say anything. So yeah, buckle up, folks. If you haven't, if you don't already know, just be warned.
Which caused a lot of people to speculate, specifically about one particular passage, whether or not she's a psychopath. Now, I am no psychologist. I'll admit that. I'm not an expert, but I'm 99.9% sure that she is a psychopath. And to be clear, I'm not using the word psychopath as a pejorative. I mean, she might literally be an actual psychopath, as evidenced by a passage in her book.
Is this the dog incident? Yeah.
Where she describes herself murdering animals, including her puppy. And she responded to the backlash by saying, "No, it's totally cool, guys. I just killed 3 more animals last week." This is...
And a goat for smelling bad? Jesus, I didn't even know about that one. Like, I thought we went over some of it yesterday. We went over some of it yesterday, and she talked about the puppy, the dog, the horses, but yeah. Whew.
Is a wild story, but nonetheless, let's take it from the top. So Rolling Stone reports, in No Going Back, the truth on what's wrong with politics and how we move America forward, Noem's forthcoming book, which was reviewed by The Guardian, Noem describes in excruciating detail the brief life of Cricket, a 14-month-old wire-haired pointer puppy she intended to use as a pheasant hunting dog. Noem describes Cricket as having an aggressive personality she hoped to calm by taking the dog on a hunt. According to the governor, Cricket didn't so much hunt as have the time of her life chasing birds and going out of her mind with excitement. Now, keep in mind, a 14-month-old dog
is still a puppy. Is still a puppy, by the way. Yeah.
Is basically a puppy. Now, you can train a puppy, but your mileage may vary depending on the dog itself and their personality and whether or not you're a good trainer. It can happen. So she took the dog on a hunt in an effort to train the puppy, but predictably the dog just wanted to run around and play because it's a puppy, right? But she thought that taking it on a hunt where there's endless stimuli would be a good environment to train a dog. It's so bizarre to me. Like, it kind of shows you how stupid she is that she thought that would work. Like, you need to put your dog in a predicament where they're not going to be overstimulated and want to run around and play. But she's like, hey, I'm going to take it hunting. All right, there's going to be a lot of shit happening, but that's when the dog's really going to listen to me anyways. So as she's driving back from this failed hunt with the puppy jumps out of her truck, and the puppy then proceeds to attack chickens. Quote, like a trained assassin, Noem writes, Cricket began grabbing one chicken at a time, crunching it to death with one bite, then dropping it to attack another. While it is legal in South Dakota to kill a dog found chasing, worrying, injuring, or killing poultry or domestic animals, it's by no means required, and there's no indication the owners of the chicken made any such demand. According to The Guardian's review, multiple chickens lost their lives before Noem finally intervened to restrain Cricket, who she described as the picture of joy throughout the ordeal. When the governor attempted to grab her dog, Cricket allegedly made to bite her. They say dogs are like their owners, and after paying the distraught family for the value of their chickens, Noem was apparently seized by a similar deadly urge. Okay, let's pause right there.
Yeah, so red flag. What?
Because there's a couple of things that I want to say. First of all, the puppy wouldn't have been able to jump out of the truck and attack the chickens in the first place if you didn't have the puppy riding in the back of the truck. Why would you do that? That's your fault. You did this. You're responsible. Second of all, it seems like the training was working because this happened after you took the dog hunting, specifically of pheasants, right? So you were trying to teach the dog to kill birds. The dog kills birds, and then you get mad at the dog. Imagine how confused the dog must be, where it's doing what you want, and you're mad. I mean, it just... I don't know what to say.
Hello, I'm Martin Sheen. I'm reaching out to you now, not as an actor, but as a concerned fellow American. In the few short years since...
Now...
What?
This dog, as it's killing chickens, she says that she tries to get him to stop by first issuing verbal commands and then using its shock collar. So, okay, as a dog owner, your dog's not going to listen to you. You have to grab the dog and stop him from killing chickens. You have to physically restrain your dog because she's not going to listen, right? And then she uses the shock collar. That doesn't work either. Now, first of all, I think that shock collars are animal abuse, so it's not necessarily surprising that a puppy murderer would use a shock collar, but she already had it on. She tried to use that. That didn't work. And then the dog tried to bite her when she tried to restrain it. Okay. So this is something that happens if you're not training your dog properly, right? But you can train the dog and get it to be less aggressive. That doesn't mean that you have to fucking kill your dog if it tries to bite you, right? If you're feeding your dog and you try to take away food or take a bone away from it and it tries to snap at you, that doesn't mean you have to kill the dog. She wanted to kill the dog, and she did. Now, as the article implies, like her dog, she too went on a deadly rampage herself that same day. And this next part is wild because they provide you with quotes that kind of detail her frame of thought. Quote, "I hated that dog," Noam recalls, calling Cricket less than worthless as a hunting dog, untrainable, and dangerous to anyone she came in contact with. Quote, "At that moment, I realized I had to put her down," the governor recalls. Noam dragged Cricket to a gravel pit and shot her dead in front of a startled construction crew.
Jesus Christ! In front of an I think the assessment that this person is that this person is a psychopath is starting to look more and more legitimate. Man, what? She literally dragged the poor dog that she said that she hated and shot it in front of a construction crew. Dog grooming businesses in that state must be crazy places. It's like that part of Napoleon Dynamite where he shoots the cow in front of the school bus.
Quote, "It was not a pleasant job, but it had to be done," she recounts. "And after it was over, I realized another unpleasant job needed to be done." Oh my God. The governor then...
Yikes. Thank you for the follow, Purple Sunshine. Welcome.
And decided that another one of her animals was deserving of a summary execution. A mean old disgusting, musky, rancid goat who sometimes chased her children and messed up their clothes. Pretty normal behavior if you've ever been around a goat, but in Noam's eyes, a capital offense. But unlike Cricket's mercifully quick death, Noam botched her first shot at the goat and was forced to run back to her truck for more ammo to finish off the wounded animal. And I just want to reiterate here, she chose to share this information with us because she probably thought that it would make her look more endearing. And her thinking in this book, as she explains it, and I'm paraphrasing, is that like this kind of demonstrates that she can make tough decisions, right? She's a real leader. She does things that she doesn't want to do for the greater good. Lady, you are off your motherfucking rocker, and you should not be out in the public. Like, you need to be in a room with padded walls, literally.
Yeah, much less being a freaking governor, much less being a vice presidential candidate. What? Yeah, 100%. She wanted to shoot them. 100%. You know, after killing the dog, she's like, "Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go find that other goat that I didn't like because it smelled bad and ruined my children's clothes or something. I gotta shoot that one too. Botches that, has to go back to the vehicle and get more ammunition because somehow she wasn't. Jesus Christ! How is she allowed to have any more animals after that? Yeah, it's almost like she was high after killing something. Whew. I mean, after this came out, she should not be allowed to have any kind of animals whatsoever.
This is not normal behavior.
It is
this
not.
is serial killer shit. Like, I don't want you anywhere near power if this is your thinking, because if you could do that to your own pets, I don't want to imagine what you'd be willing to do to actual people. But thankfully, we don't have to imagine what she would do if she had power, because we already got a taste of it. Her state had one of the highest death rates in the country when it comes to COVID-19, especially during the heart of the pandemic. And as the New York Times reports, she tried to rebrand her policy failures as quote unquote freedom. Yeah. So she might be a literal psychopath, and she didn't even think twice about including this in her book because to her, it's perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with killing animals in her eyes, but to her surprise, people aren't okay with this, and this didn't go over too well because obviously, and she was forced to come out and respond to the criticism that she's received. And her response was even more insane because she is basically like, look, it's totally cool, everyone. Murdering animals is a responsible thing to do. I just did it again not that long ago. So this is what she tweeted. I'm not joking. Quote, "We love animals."
Whew. I'm voting for Snoopy. At least he shoots Nazis. I know country people who take care of things like this themselves. They're hesitant and do everything else they can before it comes to that. Yeah, normal people don't go fetch Grandpappy's shotgun and kill the dog you just tried to train, right? Like, this is not normal behavior. Normal people, like country people or otherwise, don't look at their goat and go, you know what? That goat smells bad and it ruined my kid's clothes. I guess I gotta shoot it now that I'm on. Now that we're here and I just killed the 14-month-old puppy. Yeah, I guess we'll do a 2-for-1. Psycho.
But tough decisions like this happen all the time on a farm. Sadly, we just had to put down 3 horses a few weeks ago that had been in our family for 25 years. Then she says, if you want more real, honest, and politically incorrect stories that'll have the media gasping.
Yeah. That's the defense, apparently. We just had to put down 3 horses a few. I want to know, like, what exactly happened. Because if it's anything like, if it's anything like these situations, yeah, it's crazy how doing it isn't the worst thing about it either. Bragging about it is a whole different level of unhinged. Yeah. Yep.
You can buy my book. Okay. First of all, after hearing about how you murdered your puppy and goat, you'll have to forgive me for questioning why you had to put down 3 horses.
Yeah, exactly.
Horses a couple of weeks ago. I mean, were they neighing too loudly? Did you do a mass execution? I'm sorry, I don't trust you because you seem like a psychopath.
Right, and like after that story broke, like at the bare minimum, like she should not be allowed to own any animals at all. My buddy cried for a week after he put down his dog after she got hit by a car. There was no way she was going to live. Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, I would too. That is a normal response. You know, if there's nothing you can do except like, help, stop the suffering, that's one thing. That's one thing. And, we don't want, our family pets to suffer when we know that there's nothing else you can do. It's still not an easy decision, but it's the only decision at that point. Right? Jesus Christ.
Your behavior indicates that you are a psychopath. And if this is what you're willing to admit to all of us, I don't want to know what you're doing behind closed doors because it's probably really, really demented and twisted. And I'm sorry, but are you actually promoting your fucking book right now? And that's how you're going to promote it? Well, if you hate this story about me murdering my puppy, you'll be gasping at these other stories that I have to share. Lady, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. This is not getting any better, huh? And this is purportedly one of the VP picks that was supposed to. Well, I don't know about anymore, but she was definitely one of the picks for vice president. She was definitely on the list. Although, yeah.
Oh my God! I often say that Republicans are psychopathic. This is like next level. This is insane. And of course, she was ratioed into oblivion with that post, which kind of forced her to put out a more thoughtful reply in response to the outrage that she sparked.
Yeah, I'm sure this is going to be just as unhinged. I would equate Noam's behavior to early serial killer behavior. 100%. 100%. Like, Jesus Christ.
And her response here...
Like, the thought process and the rationalization of this is just wild. How just so brazen. She's just like, yeah, I tried to train the puppy, the 14-month-old puppy, like barely over a year. It wasn't worth a damn. I hated that dog. Yeah, after one incident, I decided that the best course of action was to shoot it. And then, while I was there, I thought, you know what? Screw that goat. And then I shot the goat too, twice, because I wounded it once and didn't kill it. So I had to go back while the animal was suffering to go grab more ammunition to finish the job. Jesus Christ. I don't know. Serial killers tend to write their memoirs after they get caught. True. This one's releasing, putting the cart before the horse, so to speak.
It doesn't really help the situation. It just kind of solidifies the fact that she is deeply mentally unwell. She writes, quote, "I can understand why some people are upset about a 20-year-old story."
Yeah, I could understand why some people are upset about me shooting my puppy and then my goat, but what? The Guardian, Kristi Noem had a shot at Trump VP before the dog-killing boast. Yeah, exactly. I don't know about that one anymore. I don't know. Oh, I didn't even catch that. Upon whether it was intended or not, I didn't catch that. See, I need my freaking I need my soundboard. In between the lines was she passed early.
Of cricket, one of the
Yeah, she made it through the cracks, huh?
working dogs at our ranch in my upcoming book, No Going Back. Oh, she's plugging it again. Can't not plug it. The book is filled with many honest stories of my life, good and bad days, challenges, painful decisions, and lessons learned. Seems like you didn't learn from this. What I learned from my years of public service, especially leading South Dakota through COVID, you didn't though. You let them die. You enacted no precautions and let thousands of people die, you fucking psychopath, is people are looking for leaders who are authentic, willing to learn from the past, and don't shy away from tough challenges. Oh my God, she's actually saying that this proves that she's like a real leader. Holy shit. My hope is anyone reading this book will have an understanding that I always work to make the best decisions I can for the people in my life. The fact
Like shooting your puppy? I'm sorry, what?
fact is, South Dakota law states that dogs who attack and kill livestock can be put down.
Can be. You didn't even bother to try to correct the issue, the behavioral issue. You didn't bother or mention that you tried to get more training. You didn't bother to say, like, you know what, this is not working out. Does anybody want this dog? Literally anything. Literally anything. I wonder what she told her kids. I feel sorry for her kids. Imagine getting attached to a dog for 12 months and poof, then years later you found out your mom murdered it. Whew. Through a book that she's trying to make money off while making this the argument as to why she should be VP, because she's got the guts to make the tough decisions.
Given that Cricket had shown aggressive behavior toward people by biting them, I decided what I did. Yeah, you did. Whether running the ranch or in politics, oh no, she's doing it. I have never passed on my responsibilities to anyone else to handle, even if it's hard and painful. I followed the law and was being a responsible parent, dog owner, and neighbor. As I explained in the book, it wasn't easy, but often the easy way isn't the right way. Except
Right. The easy way isn't the right way. You know how difficult it is to train, dogs? It's not easy, okay? The hard path would be to accept your failure as a dog owner and either, get a better training regimen, or just make the tough decision and say, you know what, I can't do it. I don't have the time to train doggo. I don't have the clearly I don't have the skills to train the doggo. I can give it to somebody who can, and that's it. I can imagine her going, "Dog's gone, don't ask." Yep, it ran away. Fluffy ran away.
as you described it,
Or not Cricket ran away.
it seemed like it was pretty easy for you because you're like, I just murdered my puppy. Now I'm going to go get the goat. Blah! I mean, like, am I going crazy?
Yeah, that's literally, as dark as this freaking scene is, that's literally what happened. That's literally what happened. This lady was like, yep, I gotta, clearly the only normal and hinged logical option that I have is to shoot the 14-year-old puppy. And then, of course, it comes to my mind that, hey, screw that goat and shoot it too. Of course, not killing it and leaving it suffering before you finally...
Easier? Lady, you're killing animals and you're making it seem like that's perfectly normal. That's not normal. Okay, that is not normal. It's not normal to kill your puppy and then be like, nah, I'm going to kill the goat next. Like, I could understand if you had an old dog and you had to take it to the vet to get euthanized because it was dying and in pain. That is understandable. This is not understandable. You did not have to kill your puppy. You chose to kill your puppy because you hated that dog. And what makes it worse is that she paints this picture of...
Yeah, and she also tried to say oh, well, I was just acting within the law. I don't know what you're talking about. I was completely within the confines of the law. I mean, if lack of training is a capital offense, half the problem more is the human. 100%. I would say, obviously I'm exaggerating, but I would say, almost entirely when it comes to dogs, almost entirely behavioral problems are human issue. Are the humans' fault, Legal doesn't equate moral. Exactly. I feel like she was having a bad day, and this is why we need to have more gun control. She definitely should not own firearms. I would request, in a sane world, there would be red flag laws, and people like her would fall under those laws. She should not have firearms, and she should not have animals at all. Any permits or whatever to own livestock or whatever, all of those should be rescinded, and any animal should be removed from her custody.
This dog being full of joy and just so inquisitive, and she's like, but I'm gonna kill it. Psycho shit. Absolute psycho shit. Now, of course, that post got ratioed badly as well, and I get the sense that she's not really able to grasp why people are so shocked by her story, including Republicans. And I think that the only...
Because she's psycho.
reason why she's not going with the woke mob's trying to cancel me for killing my puppy now is because Republicans actually responded to this. For example, Republicans like Carrie Lake and Ron DeSantis subtweeted her with pictures of themselves and dogs, I guess to presumably communicate to everyone that Republicans don't actually think that dog killing is normal and they actually think it's not okay. And leave it to Kristi Noem to make Carrie Lake look like a normal person, right? So, I mean, you know that you fucked up when Republicans aren't even willing to defend you here.
Yeah, not just like you're not like even like Ron DeSantis was like, oh, about this one. Carrie Lake was like, I don't know about this. Yeah, she's the one who was banned from certain reservations in South Dakota. That's right. Oh, she just pardoned her. That's right. She's the governor. You're right. I thought Republicans' man's best friend trait was one of their redeeming qualities, not her.
Although, there was, of course, one exception. Take a guess. Of course, it's Michael Knowles.
Yes, it was.
No way. Honestly, I thought it was going to be like Matt Walsh. But yeah, this tracks too. This tracks too. All right. Let's see you defend Psycho Lady.
Was politically dumb for Noem to admit this. Yes, her political calculation misfired.
Political calculation? Dude, the problem was that she was like, actor extraordinaire. The problem is that she was publicly saying that, yeah, I executed my animals, and you know what? That actually, makes me qualified for leadership positions because I make tough decisions or whatever. But sure, dude, continue defending this psycho shit.
I'm mixing metaphors. You get the point. But the third point is, Noem didn't do anything wrong. You might say it wasn't advisable. You might say there were better.
Nah, dude. She didn't do anything wrong. She just flat out executed her animals. Got it. Okay, cool.
There were things she could have done. She could have given the dog up for adoption. She could have tried to train the dog.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly. What? If he said illegal, I could agree with him, but he said wrong. Exactly. Exactly. She didn't do anything illegal as far as we know. Although I would say that leaving a wounded animal is animal abuse. But I don't know how that's handled in South Dakota. But yeah. I shot a dog in my actor's trailer and nobody arrested me.
She could. There is nothing wrong with a human being humanely killing an animal. There's nothing wrong. You're all, not all of you, but many of you are eating meat right now. Very few people live on farms anymore.
Okay. Yeah. And that's not okay. And two, at the very least, you can try to make the argument that the reason why you're, eating a chicken or why you're killing a chicken is because you're going to put it on the table, right? She literally just executed the dog for the sake of executing it, and as he just admitted, there were several different paths she could have taken. She could have trained the dog. She could have taken the time and effort to train the dog or to get educated enough, by to try to figure out where the behavioral issues are happening. Or if she really couldn't deal with it, then she could have given it up for adoption to somebody who can. Let's be honest, she did it to vent. Yeah, because she can't control her emotions. Probably. I mean, like, it's very clear that is most likely the case. I mean, she literally said, like, I hated that dog. Yeah. I may me, but I have a problem with Vio. I don't think that's moral, but it's very personal. I get it.
I guess it's a little bit different. Maybe if you live in the city, you take your puppy, you take your little cat in a stroller down the sidewalk. I'm not joking. I have friends who've done this in the city. They'll put their animal in a stroller so that the poor little paws of the animal don't touch the dirty sidewalk. And then you'll go and you'll take them to a doctor and you'll pay thousands of dollars.
Yes, because they're your pets. And it is your responsibility to take care of your pets, dude. That's how that works. Yeah, and just bash them on the head.
To treat the animal for whatever ailment, or to try to train the animal psychologically. And sometimes that doesn't work. And then you'll pay even more money.
Yes. That's how that literally works, dude. Hey, man, has this guy ever had a pet? Has this guy ever had like a puppy or a cat? And whatever happened to it if he did? Because red flags are starting to appear. Yeah, I hope not. I hope not either. Same, I should say. I hope he doesn't.
To euthanize it. That doesn't happen in the country, okay? That doesn't happen on farms. And sometimes if a dog is threatening people, and if a dog is destroying other people's property, sometimes you got to put the dog down like Old Yeller. It would be one thing if Christy and him were torturing this dog like a serial killer or something.
So close. So close. It seems like a goldfish kind of guy.
That would be wrong. And it would be wrong. It's wrong to mistreat animals, not because the animals have any rights. Animals don't have a rational soul. The reason it's wrong.
Wait, so you're only worthy of rights if you have a rational soul. Oh, no. What a dark freaking path we can go down with that logic. First of all, what the heck is a rational soul? I don't know what that is, because in their mind, they are being rational. You just taught me, that I'm supposed to be going after birds, and I'm doing that. I'm going after birds. I'm killing the birds. You taught me to go after birds. This is completely rational on the dog's part. It's a given, ADT. Just go with it. All right. They kind of do, though. Yeah, animals absolutely do. They do have rights. You can't just do anything you want to animals. You'll get depending on where you are, you might get a felony charge. Yeah, does a fetus have a rational soul? What does that even mean? And if so, you just said that rational souls don't deserve rights. Anyways, let's rewind that for a second.
And if a dog is destroying other people's property, sometimes you got to put the dog down like Old Yeller. It would be one thing if Christy and him were torturing this dog like a serial killer or something. That would be wrong. And it would be wrong. It's wrong to mistreat animals, not because the animals have any rights. Animals don't have a rational soul. The reason it's wrong, nevertheless, to mistreat animals is because it deadens our own humanity. C.S. Lewis writes about this extensively. If you are needlessly inflicting pain and suffering to the degree that an animal can suffer on some.
Animals can absolutely suffer. What are you talking to the degree that animals can suffer? Bro, red flag. I don't own pets because I don't believe it's an animal's purpose to keep me company. That's a fair position. That's a fair thought process.
Poor creature. That's deadening your humanity. That's bad that's what makes it wrong, because you are a rational creature, and that's harmful.
That's not even true. Animals have rights, just ask Michael Vick. Exactly. You can't just do whatever you want. You will get felony charges in certain places. Also, that's not true. Humans can be completely irrational. Does that mean irrational people don't deserve rights? And what is the definition of being rational? Because are you saying that people like you don't deserve rights? Because a lot of the arguments that you make are not based or in accordance with reason or logic.
to your soul and it's harmful to society. But there's nothing wrong intrinsically with humanely putting down a farm dog. A bullet to the head is about as humane a way as you can put down any animal.
She did nothing wrong. She just killed her puppy and a goat. Nothing wrong. Okay.
What about people who have diminished reasoning capacity? I guess they don't have rights. Yeah, this dude would argue that they shouldn't exist, if you catch my drift. Michael Knowles would argue that they shouldn't exist. That's the type of dude that would be like, yep, just get rid of them.
I think he's like the one Republican who's like, you know what? I'm going to stick my neck out and defend her. And he's kind of like talking past everyone who's vocalizing outrage with her, rightfully so, by the way. So first of all, sure, I guess that you can get me to concede that if an animal is going to be executed, I guess that putting it down in the most humane way matters. Sure, shooting it might be the most humane way, assuming one, you actually need to put it down, which she did not, and two, you do it on your first try, which was not the case with her goat, which suffered because she fucked up and missed. So there's that. But people aren't even debating the most humane way to kill an animal. You're having that conversation with yourself. You're shadow boxing. People are mad that she killed the animals in the first place that did not need to be killed. Again, these were not elderly animals that were sick and needed to be put down because they were suffering. This was a puppy and a goat that didn't need to die, but she chose to kill them anyway. The puppy wasn't sick or irredeemable. She chose to kill it because she's sick in the head. And now you're defending that, Michael Knowles.
Yeah. Well, right-wingers have touted the pro-life but back get rid of the handicap for years. Yep, that's true.
So congratulations. Now, he also weirdly adds that animals don't have souls, but I find that such a weird thing to say because there's no evidence that humans have souls. That's a concept that we made up. But I mean, if you're going to believe that humans have souls, which is fine, I don't agree with that. But if you think that humans have souls, why would you think that animals don't have souls? Doesn't that seem inconsistent? God just like, look, I'm going to give humans souls and let them have an afterlife, but animals, it's nothingness for eternity after they die. That just seems kind of weird and even cruel of God, right? And he adds that, you know, it's bad to mistreat animals because it deadens your humanity. But if that's true, and I agree with that point in a vacuum, but if that's true, wouldn't it also deaden your humanity to mistreat humans, which Michael Knowles is in favor of, as is the case with Kristi Noem? I ask this because this is the same fucking guy who said that we should eradicate transgenderism, but didn't mean genocide, just transgenderism itself. I don't know how you do that without eradicating trans people, but he said that. But apparently, he's worried about humanity. Shut the fuck up. Honestly, I'm not shocked at all that of all the Republicans, Michael Knowles is the one that chose to.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised it wasn't Matt Walsh. Pretty sure his point of view is if you don't believe in my God the way I believe in my God, you're an animal and don't deserve rights. Yeah. I would argue a majority of Republicans don't have souls.
Defend Kristi Noem in this instance. You know, sometimes you could just shut the fuck up and say nothing, but Michael Knowles, he couldn't help himself. He's like, I see a sick and demented person, I defend them. I'm a simple man, all right? Say something fucked up, I'm going to come and defend that. That's who he is. But I mean, he can't even deny how politically idiotic this was for her to share this. And the reason why she shared this is because she can't fathom why people would be angry at this. But I mean, I don't disagree there. It was politically stupid. In fact, I actually think this might have harmed her chances of becoming Trump's running mate because even Republicans aren't cool with this, as evidenced by the fact that they're all like, hey, we love dogs. We're not like Kristi Noem. But let this be a lesson to Republicans. When someone in power is perfectly fine with tens of thousands of people dying, especially their own constituents, when that doesn't necessarily have to be the case, you can implement mask mandates and lockdown precautions. When somebody's okay with that and calls that freedom, maybe take that as a sign that that person has a few screws loose, as evidenced by Kristi Noem coming out as a defender of puppy murder. And in fact, not a defender of a murderer of puppies and goats, and a defender of such actions. Like that, when people tell you who they are, you should believe them. And Kristi Noem is letting us all know that she is a psychopath. So, yeah.
I didn't even know about the goat story until today. Jesus. Yikes.
Let's play this just because we got college students who are doing good stuff
And the stuff is escalating on campus too, by the way.
right now.
Yeah, Columbia, NYU, and
Well,
then
we just
other ones
passed.
are going up.
We just passed that 2 p.m. deadline that Columbia gave to the encampment. So, how about your guys'
Faculty's
deadline?
linking arms right now.
Divest.
Here is Charlie Kirk getting trolled by a student. Reached out on Twitter and wanted to. Now, this is Charlie Kirk posting this. And so he's clipped it up a little bit. But the kid just messed with Charlie Kirk. Some of it's a decent argument, but Kirk doesn't even really. Kirk has so many lies that he does not know how to respond when somebody just says, okay, yeah, I'll go with that. It's
He said it to show that even though she's a woman, she can be unemotional and tough because that's a hurdle she has to overcome as a Republican woman. As a Republican woman, I made this joke. She puts down things so she can train and cause foul orders. Maybe we should let her be around Trump more. We just had one at the University of North Carolina. It ended relatively peacefully.
It's almost like, when a sailboat tacks to catch the wind, but sort of goes the wrong direction and the wind starts to flap. That's what Charlie Kirk is doing here. Because half of what Kirk is saying is a lie. And this kid is just basically just saying, like, I'm going to show you what kind of tool you are.
I believe Biden's going to win in a landslide. Lowest unemployment in 60 years, baby.
What about inflation? You have any questions about inflation?
Inflation's going down.
Actually, it's going up.
It's going down. Gas prices are down. Gas prices are down. Inflation is down.
Hold on.
Whew. The story she was looking for riding my horse and it broke its leg, and I had to put it down there. And then the story she told is I shoot things that annoy me. Yeah. Whew. I need some evidence as to what happened to those horses. Yeah.
See, why is the Fed then raising rates?
Pause it.
Illegals
Okay.
are coming.
Wait, what is the Fed having, to raise rates have to do with actual inflation? I shoot things that annoy me as a winner in a Republican primary, though. True.
Now listen,
What is like immigration
off-
have to do with
Raising rates.
inflation?
the Fed is not raising rates.
Exactly.
They're just contemplating when they're going to drop them. The rate of inflation is going down, popped up a little bit in the last reading, but it's two things. It's basically rent and then gas. The inflation, is increasingly people are realizing that it's a function of largely of logistics and profiteering. And there's a good argument out there that increasing the rates have been driving part of this inflation because we are seeing rental prices and home ownership prices going through the roof because to go from 3% interest on a home to 7% interest in a number of basically a year and a half has killed the ability of people to move around. And you couple this with not having built homes in the wake of the financial crisis, that's where we're at. But here it is.
It's going down.
That's right. Greedflation and rent is from price fixing thousands of dollars of difference. Yep.
Gas prices are down. Gas prices are down. Inflation is down.
Yeah, so they have no response to this because Charlie Kirk immediately said, what about the brown people?
Hold on. See, why is the Fed then raising rates? How many illegals are coming across the border every day?
A lot.
So about
What does that have to do with anything?
10 to 15,000 a day. Do you think Joe Biden
Pause
is
it
going to
for a
vote
second.
them?
That's also not true. Not true. Go ahead.
But I mean, he moved on, right? He moved, or he
Well,
cut
he
it.
clipped
He
it. He
clipped
clipped
it
it,
so that odd.
A lot. So about 10 to 15,000 a day. Do you think Joe Biden?
They're all going to vote Dem.
They're all going to vote Dem because we all know that non-citizens vote in mass. And this makes no sense. Yeah, inflation is poor people's fault, and now it is called dead money in economics when millionaires just sit on it. Yeah. And sit on 60% of U.S. finances.
Oh, can you say that again?
The illegals? Well, illegals. Yeah, they're coming here. They're going to vote Democrat, and we're going to win.
So you are admitting that you're admitting the border is a political tactic by the Democrat Party.
Pause
Joe
it for a
Biden
second.
is-
He can't even articulate because he's like, oh, wait a second. I'm supposed to just say this lie that undocumented immigrants are going to be here to vote in time for November. First of all, there is no process when someone who is not a citizen today is going to end up voting in November. Maybe I think if you get married, you can do it in time, but it's just a total fabrication and lie.
Right.
Same one that Donald Trump was pushing, 3 million illegals came from Massachusetts and drove up to New Hampshire. That's what happened. It's the exact same sort of but as soon as this kid says yeah, no, that's the plan. Kirk doesn't know how to respond because he's like, wait a second, I've been telling this lie for so long, I don't even know how to. So you admit it's a political plan. What the hell does that mean?
Well, what does it mean?
Political plan.
You admit it as if this kid has special insight into the Great Replacement. He is
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes, he's the
the lead special Democratic operator.
the point person
He's
for the
right.
administration.
And you would never suspect
You
him.
can tell by his Hawaiian shirt.
Hey y'all, it's leader Hakeem Jeffries.
True.
Here's what's happening in Washington right now.
Yeah, they're coming.
Yeah, it's the Hawaiian shirt. That's why we're getting. That's why they were getting along. The audience members, a comedian, and Kirk is just a joke. That kid is actually George Soros hopped up on adrenochrome. Exactly. I guess this is how to defeat fascism: to laugh in its face. I mean, it's certainly a tactic.
Coming here, they're going to vote Democrat, and we're going to win.
True.
So you are.
True. Yeah, the sly look.
You are admitting that you're admitting the border is a political tactic by the Democrat Party. Joe Biden is opening the floodgates of this country because he wants to hold on to political power.
Yes. Single-handedly, okay? Joe Biden right now is literally looking at the border and specifically turning the border, flipping the switch on the border, okay? It's currently an open border that a bunch of undocumented migrants are going to keep him in power. True.
We've been saying this for a long time.
And you...
Proof, you just admitted it. What is he doing to...
Are they even in a border state? I don't know.
You just admitted it. The guy says, you got any proof on that? And he goes, I don't need proof because you, college student, just admitted that there are millions of undocumented immigrants coming in to vote through a very intricate plan, obviously, because you got to distribute these votes in all the swing states. So we've got to get all of these undocumented too.
That's true. Man, they really thought of everything, huh? The Biden crime family has really thought of everything. So they're opening the floodgates to have an open border policy to get undocumented migrants to vote for them in November, and specifically making sure that they they have to win the swing states, which definitely is a thing that they're doing. They even planted Greg Abbott in Texas to move migrants around. Yeah. It's a deep. We're talking like deep levels. Okay, of conspiracy here, where even Greg Abbott is just a plant to bus migrants. I can't help but laugh every time someone says, I vote Trump for freedom. Response: so you want to vote for the person that attempts to torch the documents that give everyone their freedom so he can become a day one dictator? That dictator really emphasizes freedom. Right. Yeah, I mean, nothing logical. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. No, Joe Biden is down on the border, personally handing out American citizenships, voter registration cards, and the addresses of the white families that are placing in the designated red districts across the specific, to add to that, across the specific swing states necessary to win the election. True. A thing that is happening. I love that comment about his forehead. The irony of Kirk falling out of college. Charlie Kirk's forehead has really taken a beating the last few years.
To the swing states, set them up, hang out in time to vote.
You know what? Like, probably have a bigger impact on inflation than the electoral process by building houses and stuff like that. But anyway.
Charlie has spent so much time around college students, and he still hasn't been able to pick up on when a 20-year-old is trying to troll him.
Well, he knows it. He's just trying to play. He's just got the whole thing. He just got the admission.
Right.
He's just thinking this is going to be good for my funders.
In the floodgates of this country because he wants to hold on to political power.
Yes.
We've been saying this for a long time.
True.
Proof, you just admitted it.
What
is he doing to secure the border? When you have 15,000 people a day coming across your southern border,
who cares?
That is not a mistake.
Who cares?
But who cares? Do you believe in borders?
I believe that. No borders. No, one world government.
And final pitch for Joe Biden. No borders, lots of war, more spying.
Socialism. Do it. Say socialism, please. For me, okay. Socialism.
He's still gonna win.
You guys might win an election, but that will be the death of America if that is the case.
But the best part is that he can't. He doesn't know how to respond to this because the kid is just granting all of the lies.
He's like doing improv technique.
Yeah, exactly.
He goes, yep, no borders.
All you could say to Kirk at that point is, yep, death of America. That's part of the plan too.
Right.
I mean, it's wild how natural fascists think borders are. I mean, I've experienced what a loosened border is like. I have actually traveled to Canada prior to 9/11. I think we can go back to that. I personally, I'm fine with that. I've also been in the European Union, traveled across Europe. There's no borders there. I think whether it's like Taiwan, China, I think there's actually a lot of communication across that border, and we should encourage that to continue. Likewise, I think in a better situation, I think the nationalism, generally nationalism is bad. And so we're seeing this now. We talked with Kurt Hackbarth, a Mexican journalist, about how scary it is that we have all these internal divisions in America, and one of the outlets could be like, oh, we're going to do some cruise missiles at drug traffickers in Mexico, for instance, not knowing that those people are also in communities of where people live. Like, I don't know. I appreciate the no border thing because we need to be loosening up, stop militarizing the border is a better way, because we've been doing it for decades and decades now, and it's just been a boondoggle.
Need to nickname Kirk Sakura the nerdy, a nerdy Naruto joke. Unfortunately, I never watched a lot of Naruto. My friends tried to get me into it a long time ago, but I've literally maybe have watched like small clips of it if I can even remember what I've watched. Or I think we tried to start Naruto from the very beginning, and yeah, I just never got that far. I'm gonna be honest. There's lots of memes of her being useless and with a big forehead. Gotcha. All right, folks. Well, we've got a few articles to go through. I think we should probably start with this one. Texas governor, who is apparently a deep state actor in conspiracy to make sure Biden holds on to power, will also ignore illegal Biden Title IX revisions. Stop. Okay. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said yesterday, that his state will not abide by the Biden administration's sweeping new changes to Title IX, the federal civil rights law prohibiting sex-based discrimination at government-funded schools. I mean, like, at this point, so the federal government has no, essentially the federal government can't enforce immigration because Texas has basically decided that they were going to usurp the federal authority. Now that they're literally just deciding that they're just not going to abide by the civil rights law. Did Congress pass the changes? The changes to what? In a letter to President Biden, Abbott railed against the revised rule. Oh yeah, they revised the rule in the interpretation of Title IX, which provided new protection for transgender students, saying that they're illegal and as a result of ham-handed efforts to impose a leftist belief on the Title IX, which Abbott said exceeds your authority as president. No, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Quote, you have rewritten Title IX to force schools to treat boys as if they're girls and to accept every student's self-declared gender identity. Yes, Abbott wrote, a growing number of Republican-led states have pledged to reject Title IX's rules finalized this month by the Education Department. Top education officials in Florida, Louisiana, Wyoming, South Carolina, and Oklahoma have publicly rebuked Biden administration's changes to Title IX, arguing that the new policies roll back the rights of women. ? Like, what? I'm sorry. Did rights get just erased? And girls by expanding the landmark civil rights definition of sex discrimination to include gender identity. Abbott said in his letter that he will instruct the state government not to adhere to the new policy, citing concerns that they conflict with Texas state law, which, hey, good news, federal law is above state law, so, yeah. Go F yourselves. How about that? I am instructing the Texas Education Agency to ignore your illegal dictate, Abbott. To continue your rewrite of Title IX does not only exceeds your constitutional authority, it also tramples laws that I signed to protect the integrity of women's sports. Man, shut up. Shut up. You don't care about women's sports. By prohibiting men from competing against female athletes, Texas will fight to protect those laws and to deny your abuse of authority. Laws passed in more than a dozen Republican-led states prevents transgender students from using school restrooms and locker rooms that match their gender identity, or ban teachers and students to disregard a transgender's person's name and pronoun. Adhering to such laws may violate Title IX's regulations, senior administration told the official told Hill, and if doing so creates a hostile environment, which by definition it will. Only rights of women that I've seen taken away is abortion and healthcare, and that was not by Biden. Correct. There's making sure that trans kids have a chance to play sports is not taking the rights away from women. That's not like a thing that's happening. Also, again, spare me with this nonsense that you give a shit about women's sports. These people don't. These people don't. In Texas, Abbott signed 2 laws aimed at prohibiting transgender women from playing on sports teams that match their gender identity in public schools and universities. The Education Department unveiled a proposal last April governing athletic eligibility that would prohibit schools from adopting policies like the one in Texas, but the Biden administration has yet to finalize the rule. There's not a limited amount of human rights. There's enough to go around. Correct. And again, this is nonsense. There shouldn't be a scenario where states can just defy constitutional authority. Also, if they take away the federal funding to schools where they're going to get the money to give teachers guns instead of school supplies, then yep. Just listen to the terms that they use. Men, females, show that they consider males to be people and females to be property. Mixing that up confuses their minds. Yep. That's a good point. That's a good point. And again, spare me this nonsense that you care about protecting women's sports or whatever. Like, shut up. None of these people watch the WNBA. None of these people watch women's soccer. None of these people support any of that. I noticed that in the rhetoric years ago. Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Judge raises the threat of jail finally as he holds Trump in contempt and fines him $9,000 at the hush money trial for violating the gag order, which he has been doing. And I guess finally he crossed the line. Donald Trump was held in contempt of court today and fined $9,000 for repeatedly violating the gag order that barred him from making public statements about witnesses, jurors, and others connected to the New York hush money case. If he does it again, the judge warned he could be jailed. I mean, literally, if it was anybody else, they would be in jail. Literally, if it was anybody else, they'd be in jail. Prosecutors had alleged 10 violations, but the New York judge found that there were 9. Trump stared down the table in front of him as the judge read the ruling, frowning slightly. He didn't speak to reporters as he entered and exited the court during trial breaks. It was a stinging rebuke of the Republican former president's insistence that he was exercising his free speech rights, and a reminder that he's a criminal defendant subject to the harsh realities of trial procedure. And the judge's remarkable threat to jail the former president signaled that Trump's already precarious legal standing could further spiral depending on his behavior during the remainder of the trial. Over under, this guy's actually going to jail, because it is inevitable that, I mean, unless his counsel sits him down and tells him, listen, bro, you need to shut the F up, because this is about to get real. This dude is theoretically going to violate that gag order. I mean, he's already done it 9 times. If they cared about protecting women's sports, they would have said something against the racists that harassed the WNBA team a few weeks ago. Correct. They do watch women's sports to feed their libidos. They don't want to find out that their fantasy may not be what it seems to be. What they seem to be. Sorry. Maybe. I don't know. I just don't think that they care about women's sports. Also, at this point, Trump has about 3 filed 12-point. You're going to go to jail punch cards. Seriously. Seriously. The fact that he's not already in jail is just wild to me. It is critically important. Sorry. Merchant wrote that he's keenly aware and protective of Trump's First Amendment rights, particularly given his candidacy for the office of the President of the United States. Still, you can't violate an order. You can't violate a gag order like that. It's critically important that the defendant's legitimate free speech rights not be curtailed, that he's able to fully campaign for the office which he seeks, and that he is able to respond and defend himself against political attacks. Nah. Do you think Trump would get shanked in jail? I don't know. First of all, if he gets convicted, I don't even, we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there if he even gets into a jail. We first of all, let's see if he gets convicted and we'll cross that bridge, okay? If he even makes it to jail. But yeah, I agree. No need to speculate on that. I don't think he would lose Secret Service protection, so no. Still, he warned that the court would not tolerate willful violations of its lawful orders and that if necessary and appropriate under the circumstances will impose an incarceratory punishment. With that statement, the judge drew near the specter of Trump becoming the first former president behind bars. Trump is used to having constant access to a social media bullhorn to slam opponents and speak his mind. After he was banned from Twitter following the January 6th insurrection, Trump launched his own platform where his posts wouldn't be blocked or restricted. He has long tried to distance himself from controversial messages he's amplified to his millions of followers by insisting they're only retweets. Yeah. Okay, dude. But he does have experience with gag orders, which were also imposed on his civil trial. In a civil fraud trial, after he was found to have violated these orders, he paid more than $15,000 in fines. Tuesday's ruling came at the start of the second week of testimony in the historic case in which Manhattan prosecutors argued that Trump and his associates took part in an illegal scheme to influence the 2016 presidential campaign by purchasing and bearing steamy stories. The payouts went to a doorman with a torrid yarn, ex-Playboy model Karen McDougal, with accusations of an affair, and to a porn performer, Stormy Daniels, who alleged a sexual encounter with Trump. He has pleaded not guilty and says the stories are all fake. All fake. All fake. I don't think he will probably... I don't think he will. He'll probably get house arrest, and if in jail, he would have guards and probably be permanently isolated in white-collar prison. Yeah, probably. I want him to live a full life behind bars, if only. Secret Service protection would mean Trump would be isolated, and that more than anything would kill him. I mean, if he does go to jail, that probably would be the way it goes. He would have to be, completely isolated with his secrets. I just don't know how that would work. I find it more and more difficult to imagine him being like in jail. It would be more likely that he would have some type of house arrest because of that whole like Secret Service thing. I don't know. We've never had to deal with that as a country, so I guess we'll see how that plays out in the event that he does get convicted. Trump was ordered to pay the gag order fine by the close of business Friday, and he deleted, as ordered, the offending post from his Truth Social account and campaign website on Tuesday today. The judge was also weighing other alleged gag order violations by Trump and will hear arguments on Thursday. He also announced that he will halt the trial on May 17 to allow Trump to attend his son Barron's high school graduation. Of the 10 posts, the one Marchant rule is not a violation came on April 10th, a post referring to witness Michael Cohen and Daniels as sleazebags. Marchant said Trump's contention that he was responding to a previous post by Cohen is sufficient to give him pause on whether the post was a violation. Marchant cautioned that the gag order not be used as a sword instead of a shield by potential witnesses, and that if people who are protected by the order like Cohen continue to attack Trump, it becomes apparent they don't need the gag order's protection. Cohen's, Trump's former attorney, said he will refrain from commenting about Trump until after he testifies at the trial. On Tuesday, he said in a text message to the AP, the imposed fine is irrelevant. Judge Martin's decision elucidates that this behavior will not be tolerated and that no one is above the law. In other developments, testimony resumed on Tuesday with a banker who helped Cohen open the accounts, including one used by to buy Daniels' silence. Trump's attorney have suggested that they were engaged in an effort to protect his name and family, not to influence the outcome of the presidential election, which, come on. I think they could do jail, but it would have to be a state-owned prison and not a private one. The Secret Service is now planning for Trump's incarceration because they may need to jail him if he pushes the judge too much. Yep. Jurors also began hearing from Keith Davidson, a lawyer who represented McDougal and Daniels in their negotiations with the National Enquirer and Cohen. He testified that he did arrange a meeting at Los Angeles office during December of 2016 to see whether the tabloid's parent company was interested in McDougal's story. At first, they demurred, saying that she lacked documentary evidence of the interaction. But the tabloid eventually bought the rights, and Davidson testified that he understood it would never be published. Asked why the tabloid's parent company, American Media, would buy a story it didn't intend to run, Davidson said he was aware of two reasons. One explanation that was given is that they were trying to build Karen into a brand and didn't want to diminish her brand. And the second was an unspoken understanding that there was an affiliation between David Becker and Donald Trump, and that AMI wouldn't run any story related to Karen because it would hurt Donald Trump. As for Daniels, the October 2016 leak of Trump's 2005 Hollywood Access tape, in which Trump bragged about grabbing women sexually without asking permission, had tremendous influence on the marketability of her story. Before the video was made public, there was very little, if any, interest in her claims. Asked to describe the tape, which can't be shown in court, Davidson testified that it involved Trump and the show's then host Billy Bush being recorded on a hot mic and some statements by both men that were, quote, troublesome. Yeah. A deal that was reached with the tabloid for Daniel's story, but the Enquirer backed out, though Becker testified that he agreed to serve as Trump's campaign's eyes and ears by helping to squelch unflattering rumors and claims about Trump and women. He drew the line with Daniels after paying $180,000 to scoop up and sit on the stories. Davidson began to negotiate with Cohen, directly hiked up the price from $125 to $130 and reached a deal. In essence, Michael Cohen stepped into AMI's shoes. Trump's son Eric joined him on Tuesday, the first time a family member has attended the criminal trial. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton walked into the courtroom with Trump and his entourage for the afternoon session. The GOP presidential hopeful is charged with 34 felony counts for falsifying business records in connection with the hush money payments. The detailed evidence on business transactions and bank accounts is setting the stage for the testimony from Cohen, who went to federal prison after pleading guilty in 2018 to campaign finance violations and other crimes. The trial, the first of Trump's 4 criminal cases come before a jury, is expected to last for another month or so. And with every moment Trump is in court, he's going increasingly frustrated while the November election moves ever closer. This is a case that should have never been brought, he said. Los Angeles. Yep. They were probably planning how to do that before the first court case. It was not a Trump patsy judge, knowing Trump could never violate the law in general. Okay, folks, I have time for one more story. So I think we'll just go through this one really quickly. Justice Department will move to reclassify marijuana in a historic shift. The U.S. Drug Enforcement, or DEA, will move to reclassify marijuana as a less dangerous drug, the AP has learned. A historic shift. The generations of American drug policy that would have ripple effects across the country. The proposal, which must be reviewed by the White House Office of Management and Budget, would recognize the medical use of cannabis and acknowledge it has less potential for abuse than some of the nation's most dangerous drugs. However, it would not legalize marijuana outright for recreational use. The agency's move, confirmed to the AP on Tuesday, today by 5 people familiar with the matter, who spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss the sensitive regulatory review, clears the last significant regulatory hurdle before the agency's biggest policy change in more than 50 years can take effect. So we'll see. Currently, the classification is alongside, which is Schedule 1, which is alongside heroin and LSD. And they want to move it to Schedule 3, which is alongside ketamine and some anabolic steroids. So we'll see how that turns out. Surely, they're pulling they're pulling all the what they can before the election. But they still don't understand what fundamentally the problem is. I thought it was 3 already. Nope. Sorry, but my typing always been bad in English. No worries. You're good. I just gotta say it. Legalize it. Yep. They're only doing it to make more money. In any case, yes, just legalize it. They want votes, I guess, but not enough. No, that's not even going to be close. The issue isn't fundamentally, whether or not marijuana is legal. Which, by the way, would be if the Biden administration came out and just just straight out the gate decriminalized marijuana, or at least or legalize or at least decriminalize marijuana, that would be something. But I don't feel like that's enough fundamentally at this stage. Fentanyl is Schedule 2 because there are too many commercial applications. It's not enough, and it's not fundamentally addressing the problem as to why people are not wanting to vote for Biden. All right, folks, we got one more story. Trump on political violence in 2024. If we don't win, it depends. Bro, what? What do you mean it depends? If we don't win, the implication is like, yeah, if I don't win, there could be violence. And, I'm just saying, do your thing. Stand back and stand by. Jesus Christ. Former President Trump said in a new interview with Time Magazine that he doesn't think there'll be political violence around 2024 election because he believes he'll win. So that's why there won't be any violence, because he'll win. Get it? If he wins, then his people, his domestic terrorists aren't going to do anything. And if there are any counter protests to him winning, he's going to shut that down forcefully. And if he fully legalized it today, I'd still not vote for him if he keeps funding Israel. Right. That's exactly the fundamental disconnect that this party has, this campaign, this president has, is that, it's the biggest con, in my opinion, with Biden is he's closer to a Bush Jr. than a Democrat, but better than a dictator. He's just talking. Don't mind him. Nothing to see here. Because he believes that he'll win, but it always depends on the fairness of an election. Already freaking priming the pump, right? Because if he loses, then it's not a fair election. And therefore, hey, my hands are tied. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, that if I win, then there won't be any political violence. But that always depends on the fairness of the election, which just means that if I don't win. He's very much a Democrat. He's held an elected office as a Democrat for about 50 years. Yes. The comments came along with the statement that Trump would consider pardoning every person who has been charged or convicted for the insurrection on January 6th. And after the then president rallied his followers against what he repeatedly and basically called a rigged election. Trump also answered questions digging into his campaign position on abortion policy left up to the states, deflecting questions pressing him on for a potential federal action, including his position on whether abortion medication should be available. And Trump reinforced past statements that he had made on Russia doing whatever the hell they want to NATO countries who don't pay their fair share, and an extent of military crackdown he plans to order on illegal immigration. You know, the usual fascist talking points. When Trump was asked in an initial interview about the prospect of more political violence in 2024 following the events of 2020 election, he said, "No, I think we're going to have a big victory. And I think there will be no violence, right? Because I won, and therefore everything's going to be fine." But asked in a follow-up question about conversation about what will happen if he doesn't win, Trump was equivocal. Well, I do think we're going to win. We're way ahead. I don't think they'll be able to do the things that they did last time, which were horrible, absolutely horrible. So many different things that they did, which were total violations of what were supposed to be happening. Question mark. I don't know what any of this means. And you know that, and everybody knows that. I don't. We can recite them and go down a list that would be an arm's long, but I don't think we're going to have that. I think we're going to win. And if we don't win, it depends. It always depends on the fairness of an election. So, yeah. Which things? I don't know. But apparently everybody knows. So many different things that they did. You know that. Everybody knows that. Which things? I don't know, but things. Biden is to the right of Reagan and both Bushes, and still a Democrat is a political party which he is a member. Yep. Of the people charged and convicted in the violent acts, says Congress is preparing to certify the 2020 election. Trump complained that they faced a two-tier system. I'm impressed I would consider that yes when he asked if he'd consider pardoning every single insurrectionist. So, yeah, that's cool. That's nice. So if he doesn't win, it's like he huffs a can of hairspray every morning. So if he doesn't win, obviously it's going to be perceived as the election not being fair. And, that is his call to violence. That is his call to his people. That if things don't go his way, then we can't guarantee that there isn't going to be violence because, if I don't win, then that's going to question the fairness of the election. And if there is going to be violence, it's because it's going to be dependent on whether or not I feel like there is fairness. If there is, if this election was being handled fairly. His brain has been cooked by tanning beds. So, yeah, buckle up, folks, because if Biden wins this election by a hair, which is possible, it is possible that Biden wins this election by a hair. Right now, it's still a freaking coin toss. It's still a freaking coin toss. If Biden wins this election by a hair, you know that the immediate reaction is going to be, well, this was rigged, all bets are off, huh? This is not good considering the last election, right? If the last election, caused the insurrection of January 6th, and again, these people were organized, and these people had the means to do so much worse. They had the means to do so much worse, but for whatever reason, they didn't. I'm not saying that January 6th was a walk in the park. I'm saying these people literally had weapons cache, weapon caches. With complete plans to have militia people at the ready. All bets are off this time if he wins. Biden's more on the conservative side, but what I was saying is since presidency to appease the Republicans, that he has tended to lean to the Republican side more to get other things out in minor comparison. Not saying that he's been pushing Republican stuff is what I mean. Yeah, definitely he has been pushing Republican stuff. I agree. I agree. In the pursuit of the magical moderate Republican that would somehow switch. Any case, yeah. So if Biden does win, it's going to be a close election no matter what, right? But if Biden wins, then they're going to claim that it was stolen, and that the election wasn't fair. Even if Biden won by a landslide, they'll say it was rigged. Yeah, 100%. 100%. But like, you know, everything that we have right now points to a very close election. You know, everything that we have right now is pointing to a very close election. Still, I think Trump is currently leading the aggregate of national polls by like 0.2. Last time I checked, it's very small. But in any case, the point being is that it's a very close election, and if Biden does win, you know, all bets are off, because the first thing that they're going to say is that this was rigged, and I don't know, folks. Just you know, stay vigilant, be prepared, and stay safe. You know. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. Yeah, hold on to your hats, for real. For real. And how much months left out? 6 months? No. Yeah, 6 months left until the election, basically. Just about. That's not a lot. That's not a long time. That is not a long time, folks. It'll be November before you know it. Folks, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. Thank you to the new follows, and thank you for mixing it up in the chat. I appreciate all of you. I really do got to get going. Thank you guys. Thank you, Michael Hassler and Heat, for modding the chat. I appreciate it. Thank you for the new follows and the folks that hanged out here. Thank you. If you enjoy your stay, don't forget to hit the follow button. It really does help us out. If you're on the YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. It really does help us out. And I see you guys, you know. I see you. I see you on YouTube. Thank you. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I appreciate it, folks. Join the Discord if you want to keep up with the channel. And we also do movie events once a month. The next movie event is on the last Saturday of every month. So the next one is going to be May 25th. So if you want to be a part of that, and just join, you know, just join. There's pretty chill, you know, we got a pretty chill community going on there, so I appreciate it. Hit ! Discord if you want to support the channel. There are many different ways. Consider checking out the merch store ! Merch, and you can feel free to check that out. I appreciate you guys. You guys are what makes this channel grow. Again, I'll be back tomorrow. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Sorry, tomorrow. Bonus movie this Saturday. There you go. Original Star Wars with all the CGI. Look at that. There you go. See? Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow, Footlong, and I appreciate you hanging out. See ya. Hang tight, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.